Lean Analytics, Use Data to Build a Better Startup Faster, by Alistair Croll and Benjamin Yoskovitz is an energetic, highly practical book that reframes how entrepreneurs and marketers should approach decision-making in a data-rich world. It's not just about collecting numbers, it's about finding the right one number that matters at a given stage of your business and using it to learn, iterate, and grow. The authors, both experienced in startups and product development, don't just preach the value of data, they show you how to use it with urgency, strategy, and clarity. The heart of the book is the idea that you are your data. A startup's success, the authors argue, depends less on having the perfect idea up front and more on how quickly it can validate or discard assumptions. This doesn't mean making wild guesses and hoping for the best. Instead, it's about building structured experiments, measuring rigorously, and responding quickly. This is where lean analytics shines. It gives you a mental model for moving fast and smart in a chaotic business landscape. From the start, the book acknowledges that startups face overwhelming uncertainty. There are too many decisions, too many paths, and too many distractions. Rather than try to measure everything at once, the authors suggest a better route: identify the current stage your business is in, empathy, stickiness, virality, revenue, or scale, and focus on the one metric that tells you whether you're progressing. This laser focus helps eliminate noise and push forward momentum. One of the strengths of the book is its deep dive into the 5 stages of the startup lifecycle. In the empathy stage, your job is to understand your users, what they need, how they talk, where their pain points lie. Metrics here are qualitative as much as quantitative: interviews, behavior patterns, emotional triggers. It's about listening more than selling. Once you've nailed empathy, you move into stickiness, where your product must keep users coming back. Here, metrics like retention, engagement, and churn become your compass. The authors are refreshingly honest about the dangers of vanity metrics. Page views, downloads, and sign-ups might look great in investor decks, but they don't always reflect real growth. Instead, they advocate for actionable metrics, numbers tied to actual behavior change, conversion, or product-market fit. This philosophy is especially relevant in marketing, where data is often misused to impress rather than to learn. As the book progresses, it delves into virality and how word-of-mouth or built-in sharing mechanics can fuel exponential growth. The authors introduce formulas like the viral coefficient and time to invite, but always ground them in human behavior. It's not about tricks, it's about building a product or brand that people want to talk about. They emphasize that virality isn't a growth hack, it's a sign that users find your product meaningful enough to share. Revenue and scale come next, and here lean analytics leans more heavily into the numbers. The book outlines how to analyze pricing models, customer acquisition costs, CAC, lifetime value, LTV, and how to balance growth with profitability. Again, these aren't just spreadsheet games, they're critical strategic levers. A company with great engagement but a broken business model won't last. This is where many startups falter, and the authors provide frameworks to avoid that fate. The storytelling is clear and unpretentious, peppered with real-world examples from companies like Airbnb, Dropbox, LinkedIn, and Zynga. Each example highlights not just success, but the pivots, failures, and learning loops behind the scenes. This makes the book feel alive, not a dry manual, but a conversation with seasoned founders who've seen the ups and downs. The tone is practical, sometimes funny, always focused on momentum. Throughout the book, there's a deep respect for context. What works for a SaaS company may not work for an e-commerce brand. What matters at launch doesn't matter at scale. This focus on tailoring metrics to your model and stage is what makes lean analytics so actionable. It doesn't offer a universal checklist, it gives you a way of thinking that adapts as your business evolves. The book also explores personas and segmentation, emphasizing that not all users are created equal. Understanding who your best users are, and why they behave the way they do, can be a goldmine. This is particularly relevant in marketing, where assumptions about the target audience often go untested. Lean analytics teaches you to test those assumptions ruthlessly and design with insight, not ego. Another key theme is the use of experimentation. Whether it's A/B testing, cohort analysis, or simple customer interviews, the authors encourage relentless iteration. This mirrors the scientific method: hypothesis, test, learn, repeat. For a marketer or founder, this means getting comfortable with uncertainty and using data to illuminate the next right step, not to confirm what you already hope is true. Even though the book is rooted in startup culture, its lessons extend far beyond. Any organization introducing a new product, rethinking a campaign, or navigating uncertainty can benefit from the lean analytics mindset. The authors even touch on how enterprise teams can adopt similar principles, especially when launching internal tools or innovation projects. One of the most motivating aspects of the book is its stance on speed. Speed doesn't mean rushing, it means reducing waste. Time spent pursuing the wrong idea, building features nobody uses, or optimizing for irrelevant metrics is worse than moving slowly. Speed is about disciplined learning, and lean analytics offers the playbook for doing that well. As the book wraps up, it returns to its core promise: better decisions, faster. It's not about being perfect, it's about being less wrong every day. In a world overflowing with data, the winners are those who can ask the right questions and act on the answers. That's what lean analytics trains you to do. It empowers you to stop guessing, start measuring, and ultimately, to grow with clarity and purpose. Lean analytics doesn't just teach you how to be data-driven, it changes the way you think. It makes you suspicious of assumptions, hungry for feedback, and obsessive about progress. For anyone building a business, a brand, or even a career in marketing, this mindset is not just useful, it's essential.